A retired military legend, known as the Ghost of Kandahar, is kidnapped from her quiet farm by men who've mistaken her identity. When they threaten her daughter, they unleash the sleeping warrior within her, revealing a web of military corruption her late husband died exposing. Will she uncover the truth before the powerful men behind it all silence her family forever? I feel the cool morning air on my face as I step onto my porch, basket of chicken feed in hand. The familiar smell of earth and hay fills my lungs. This old farmhouse has been in my family for generations, but now it's just me and my 6-year-old daughter Lily trying to keep it going. Lily, breakfast in 10 minutes. I call over my shoulder. Okay, Mommy. Her sweet voice drifts from inside. I smile to myself, then wince as my old shoulder injury acts up. The doctor said the pain might never fully go away. Just one more reminder of a life I left behind. The chickens cluck excitedly as I approach their pen. My boots sink slightly into the mud from yesterday's rain. I'm halfway through feeding them when I hear it, the rumble of an engine coming fast down my long driveway. My heart skips a beat. We don't get visitors out here, especially not at dawn. A black pickup truck races toward my house, spitting gravel. It skids to a stop near my barn, and 3 men jump out. My blood runs cold. They're wearing masks. Black ski masks on a warm spring morning. Lily, I whisper to myself, instinctively looking back at the house. The tall one strides toward me, while the others fan out around my property. Something about their movement seems practiced, deliberate. You Emma Taylor? The tall one barks, his voice muffled behind his mask. I grip my basket tighter. Who's asking? He pulls out a gun, not waving it wildly like an amateur, but holding it with the steady confidence of someone who's used one before. Where's the money? He demands, stepping closer. What money? I'm a farmer. Look around you. I try to keep my voice steady, buying time while my mind races. There's a shovel leaning against the chicken coop, maybe 4 steps away. Don't play stupid, he snarls. We know about the job. The job? What job? I haven't worked outside this farm since. Before I can think further, the shortest one calls from near my truck. Check this out. He's holding my wallet. Must have grabbed it through the open window. He flips it open and pulls out my driver's license. The tall one, clearly the leader, gestures with his gun toward the house. Get the kid. My heart stops. No, leave her alone. I lunge forward without thinking. The butt of his gun crashes against my temple. Pain explodes through my skull as I crumple to my knees, basket flying from my hands. Eggs shatter on the ground around me. Through blurred vision, I see the third man, big, muscular, heading toward my house. Please, I beg, fighting to stay conscious. She's just a child. The front door of my farmhouse opens, and Lily steps out onto the porch in her pink pajamas, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Mommy, she calls, confusion in her voice. Run, Lily. I scream. Run to Mrs. Wilson's house. But it's too late. The big man reaches the porch in 3 long strides and grabs her. My daughter's terrified scream cuts through me like a knife. Something shifts inside me, then something I thought I'd buried years ago. My vision sharpens. My heartbeat steadies. My breathing slows. As the leader drags me to my feet, he doesn't notice how I'm already counting. 3 men, 2 visible weapons, 1 vehicle. He doesn't see me noting their heights, weights, likely reaction times. He doesn't realize that when he shoves me against the barn wall, I'm already planning 3 different ways to break his arm. But Lily's frightened cries stop me. She's being carried toward the truck, kicking and screaming. Be brave, sweetie. I call to her, making my voice tremble just enough. Mommy's right here. The leader leans in close, his breath hot on my face. Your husband really messed up. Now you're gonna pay. My husband? I almost laugh. David died 3 years ago in what the military called a training accident. These men have the wrong woman. But as they force me into the truck, Lily clutched tightly against my chest, I decide not to correct them. Better they think I'm whoever they're looking for than realize their mistake and have no reason to keep us alive. The truck speeds away from my farm, dust billowing behind us. I stroke Lily's hair, whispering that everything will be okay, while my mind shifts into a gear I haven't used since my military days. These men don't know who they're dealing with. They see a struggling single mom, They don't see Lieutenant General Emma Taylor, former Special Ops Commander. They don't see the woman once known in military circles as the Ghost. As we turn on the main road, I catch a glimpse of my neighbor Mrs. Wilson stepping out her house, watching our truck with concern. Good. She'll notice something's wrong. She'll call for help. But as the tall one makes a sharp turn I wasn't expecting, taking us deeper into the countryside through roads only locals would know, a chill runs down my spine. Maybe these men aren't as clueless as I thought. Where are you taking us? I ask, letting fear creep into my voice. The leader glances back, eyes cold behind his mask. Somewhere your husband can find you. I hold Lily tighter, feeling her small body tremble against mine. Whoever these men think I am, whatever they think my dead husband did, I need to play along until I find an opening. Because one thing's certain, if they discover they have the wrong woman, we become loose ends. And men like these don't leave loose ends breathing. I count the turns as the truck bounces down dusty back roads. 3 rights, 2 lefts, straight for maybe 20 minutes on an unmarked gravel path. My training kicks in automatically, mapping our journey, noting landmarks, calculating distances. Lily has fallen silent in my arms, her face buried against my chest. Her breathing has that hiccuping quality it gets when she's trying not to cry. My brave girl, it's going to be okay. I whisper in her hair, too softly for our captors to hear. Remember what I taught you? Count the breaths. She nods almost imperceptibly and takes a shaky breath. 1. Another. 2. This little ritual, something I learned in combat to stay calm under pressure, now helps my 6-year-old daughter face her fear. The truck slows, turning onto an overgrown path barely visible among tall grasses. Through the window, I spot an abandoned barn in the distance. Weather gray wood, sagging roof, one door hanging crooked on rusted hinges. Perfect, mutters the driver, the tall one they call Marcus. No one comes out this way. The big man, Vince, grunts in agreement. The third one, shorter and jittery, keeps checking his phone. No signal out here, Ed. Marcus snaps. That's the point. So now I have names. Marcus, the leader. Vince, the muscle. Ed, the nervous one. Information is power. The truck stops. Vince yanks open my door and pulls Lily from my arms. No. I cry out, lunging after her. Don't hurt her. Marcus grabs my arm, twisting it behind my back. Not quite hard enough to dislocate my shoulder, but enough to make me gasp in pain. Behave, he hisses in my ear, or things get worse for both of you. I let myself stumble as he pushes me toward the barn, playing weaker than I am. Better they underestimate me. Inside, the barn smells of old hay and mildew. Shafts of light stream through holes in the roof, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. 2 wooden chairs sit in the center of the dirt floor. Sit, Marcus orders, shoving me toward one of the chairs. I obey, keeping my eyes on Lily. Vince has set her down, but keeps a heavy hand on her small shoulder. Please, I beg, let my daughter go. She's just a child. She hasn't seen your faces. Shut up, Marcus says, but there's a moment of hesitation. He turns to Ed. Tie her up. Ed approaches with rope, his movements nervous but practiced. As he binds my wrists behind the chair, I test the knots subtly. Tight, but not professional. I could get free in maybe 10 minutes if I had to. What about the kid? Vince asks, still gripping Lily's shoulder. Marcus paces a few steps, thinking. Put her in the back room. We need to make the call. I want my mommy. Lily whimpers, her voice small but steady. My heart swells with pride, even as fear grips it. She's scared but holding it together. You'll see your mommy soon if your daddy cooperates, Marcus tells her. Vince, take her. As Vince leads Lily toward a small room at the back of the barn, she turns to look at me. Our eyes meet, and I give her the slightest nod. Our secret signal. I'm okay. Stay strong. When they're gone, Marcus pulls up a wooden crate and sits in front of me. He removes his mask, revealing a face with sharp features and cold blue eyes. A thin scar runs from his left temple to his jaw. Now, he says, leaning forward, where's your husband? I don't know. I answer truthfully. I haven't seen him in years. Marcus's eyes narrow. He studies my face, looking for lies. You expect me to believe David Taylor doesn't come home to his wife and kid? The name hits me like a physical blow. David. My David. But they shouldn't know about him. His work was classified. His death was quiet. David's dead, I say flatly. He died 3 years ago. Marcus laughs, a harsh sound that echoes in the empty barn. Lady, I saw your husband 2 weeks ago in Mexico. He took something that doesn't belong to him. My mind reels. David alive? Impossible. I identified his body. I buried him. I mourned him. You're lying, I whisper. Check her ID again. Marcus calls to Ed, who fumbles in his pocket and pulls out my driver's license. Emma Taylor, Idrids. Lives at 1487, County Road 18. Marcus frowns, taking the license from Ed. He stares at it, then at me. Something shifts in his expression. Show me your left shoulder, he demands suddenly. My blood runs cold. How could he know about my scar? What? Your shoulder, he repeats, standing up. Show me now. When I don't move, he nods to Ed, who comes behind me and yanks down the collar of my shirt, exposing my upper back and shoulder. It gasps softly. Boss, she doesn't have it. Doesn't have what? I ask, my mind racing. What are they looking for? Marcus circles me slowly, his face darkening. We might have a problem. A phone rings, an old-fashioned ringtone cutting through the tense silence. Ed pulls a burner phone from his pocket and hands it to Marcus, who answers without speaking. I strain to hear the voice on the other end, but can only make out a deep murmur. Yes, sir, Marcus says finally. We have a situation. He looks at me with renewed interest. The woman doesn't match the description. No shoulder tattoo. Tattoo? David never mentioned his wife having a tattoo. Marcus listens again, then his eyes widen slightly. You want us to what? Another pause. Understood. He ends the call and turns to Ed. Get Vince. We're moving them. Moving us where? I demand. Marcus doesn't answer, just stares at me with a calculated look. Who are you really, Emma Taylor? And why are you living in Marion Wilson's house? Marion Wilson? The name sends a jolt through me. My neighbor, the woman who lives down the road. The woman I was hoping would notice our abduction and call for help. As the pieces start falling into place, a cold realization washes over me. This wasn't a case of mistaken identity. This was a deliberate trap, and I just walked right into it. And somewhere in the back room, my daughter is paying the price for secrets I didn't even know existed. 3 days trapped in this damp barn, and my body aches from the hard-wooden chair they've kept me tied to. The smell of moldy hay and old gasoline fills my nose. My wrists are raw from the rope, but I've been careful not to let them see how much it hurts. I need them to think I'm just a scared, helpless woman. Marcus paces in front of me, his boots making the floorboards creak. Call your husband, he demands for what must be the 100th time. Tell him we want our money from the last job, where things get worse for you. I stare at the floor, letting tears well up in my eyes. Please, I whisper, I don't know any David Wilson. My husband was David Taylor. He died 3 years ago in Afghanistan. Marcus slams his fist against the wall. Stop lying. His voice echoes through the barn, making dust fall from the rafters. I flinch, not entirely for show. These men are growing desperate, which makes them unpredictable. Ed, the short one with nervous eyes, pulls Marcus aside. Maybe we got the wrong farm, he mutters, but not quietly enough. The boss said it was the blue farmhouse off County Road 8. My farm is on County Road 18, I say, keeping my voice small. Please, my little girl needs me. She's only 6. Vince, the big one with tattooed arms, snorts from where he's leaning against the barn door. Shut up. Nobody asked you. But I can see doubt creeping into his eyes, too. When they step outside to argue, I count to 30, then start working on my restraint again. The rope is thick and rough, but I've been slowly, patiently wearing it down against a nail I found poking out from the chair. My fingers bleed as I work, but pain is an old friend from my military days. Night falls, bringing a heavy rainstorm. Water drips through the barn roof, creating puddles on the dirt floor. The men take shifts watching me. When Ed's turn comes, I notice he can barely keep his eyes open. Could I have some water? I ask softly. Please. He hesitates, then nods, reaching for a bottle. As he approaches, I make my breathing shallow, like I'm having trouble. "You okay?" he asks, leaning closer. That's when I make my move. In one swift motion, I headbutt him square in the nose. Blood sprays across my face as he stumbles backward, cursing. I've managed to get one hand free, and I quickly untie my other wrist. Ed recovers faster than I expected, lunging for me with a switchblade. My training kicks in automatically. I dodge, grab his wrist, and twist until the knife clatters to the ground. A sharp jab to his throat leaves him gasping for air. My heart pounds as I retrieve the knife and cut the ropes binding my ankles. I should finish it off, but something stops me. I'm not that person anymore. Instead, I use the rope to tie him up and gag him with his own bandana. "Who are you working for?" I whisper fiercely in his ear. "What do you want with my farm?" His eyes widen with genuine confusion. "Wilson's money," he chokes out. "From the weapons deal." "What weapons deal?" I press the knife against his throat, just enough to draw a thin line of blood. "The shipment from Kandahar," he gasps. "Your husband was the middleman." My blood runs cold. "David, involved in weapons smuggling?" It can't be true. The military told me he died a hero, saving his unit from an ambush. I hear footsteps approaching. Quickly, I move behind the door, knife ready. My mind races with memories of combat training, of the missions I led that earned me the nickname the Ghost. Not because I was deadly, but because I could get my team in and out of hostile territory without anyone knowing we were there. As Marcus walks in, whistling, I realize these men have made two serious mistakes. First, they kidnapped the wrong woman. And second, they've awakened something I tried to bury when I hung up my uniform. The soldier who knows exactly how to survive against all odds. The rain beats harder on the roof as I prepare to make my move. Somewhere out there, my daughter is waiting. And nothing, not these men, not the mystery surrounding my husband's death, not even my own fear, will keep me from getting back to her. But first, I need answers about David. If what Ed said is true, then I've been living with lies for 3 years. And someone is going to pay for that. Just as I'm about to strike, I spot something that makes me freeze. A photo falling from Marcus's pocket. I could just make out the image from where I stand. It's my husband, very much alive, standing next to a man I've never seen before. The date stamp reads last month. My world tilts on its axis as I struggle to process what this means. David alive? Then who did I bury? Why would he abandon Lily and me? The questions multiply in my mind, momentarily distracting me. That's when the barn door swings open again, and Vince's massive silhouette fills the doorway. "Marcus, we got a problem," he starts, then spots Ed on the floor and me standing with a knife. Well, he says with an ugly smile, drawing his gun. "Looks like the farmer's wife has some fight in her after all." The crack of Vince's gun echoes through the barn as I dive behind a stack of old hay bales. The bullet misses me by inches, splintering wood where I stood just a moment ago. My heart hammers against my ribs, but my hands are steady, muscle memory from years of combat. "You're making this worse for yourself," Vince calls out, his heavy boots crunching across the dirt floor. "Come out now, and maybe Marcus won't cut off your fingers one by one." Marcus curses, kicking Ed, who's still tied up on the ground. "How did she get loose?" "You had one job." I stay silent, using their voices to track their positions. There's a small window about 15 feet away. If I can reach it, I might escape. But first, I need that photo of David. I need to know the truth. Keeping low, I crawl between old farm equipment, ignoring the rusty nails that tear at my already battered skin. The storm outside has intensified, rain drumming against the barn roof so hard it almost drowns out the sound of my pursuers. "Check the back," Marcus orders Vince. "I'll cover the front." She can't have gone far. As their footsteps separate, I see my chance. I dart toward Marcus, surprising him from behind. Before he can turn, I swing a rusted pipe I grab from the floor, connecting with his arm. He howls in pain, the gun flying for his grasp. I lunge for the weapon, but Marcus recovers quickly, tackling me to the ground. We roll in the dirt, fighting for dominance. He's stronger, but I'm fighting for my daughter. For the truth. Who is David Wilson? I grunt, driving my knee into his stomach. The question catches him off guard. "What? That's your husband." "My husband was David Taylor." I spit through clenched teeth. Understanding dawns in his eyes. You really don't know, do you? He laughs, a harsh sound that sends chills down my spine. Your husband's been living a double life, sweetheart. The revelation stuns me just long enough for Marcus to gain the upper hand. He pins me down, his face inches from mine, breath hot and smelling of cigarettes. The great Lieutenant General Emma Taylor, he sneers. Not so tough without your squad, are you? My fingers scrape desperately in the dirt until they close around something solid, a jagged piece of glass from a broken bottle. With all my strength, I drive it into his thigh. Marcus screams, rolling off me. I scramble to my feet, snatching the gun from where it fell. Just as I aim it at him, the barn door crashes open. Vince stands there, silhouetted by a flash of lightning. In his massive arms is a small, struggling figure. My blood turns to ice. Lily, my daughter's terrified eyes find mine. Her pink pajamas are soaked from the rain, her teddy bear clutched against her chest. A bruise darkens her cheek. Mommy, she cries, trying to run to me, but Vince holds her tight. Drop the gun, he orders, pressing a knife against my daughter's throat. Now, the soldier in me calculates odds, angles, risks. The mother in me sees only her child in danger. The gun clatters to the floor. Smart move. Vince grins, revealing yellowed teeth. Marcus, you okay? Marcus stumbles to his feet, blood soaking his pant leg. She's gonna pay for that, he growls. Let my daughter go, I plead, raising my hands. She's just a child. She shouldn't have been snooping around the neighbor's phone. Vince says. Call the cops, she did. Lucky for us, we intercepted the call. My heart sinks. Lily had tried to save me, and now she was in danger too. The neighbor I trusted to watch her must have been careless. What do you want? I ask, playing for time. The storm is getting worse. The old barn groans under the force of the wind. If it's money, I don't have any. If it's my husband you're after, I haven't seen him in 3 years. Marcus limps toward me, pulling something from his pocket. It's a photo I saw earlier. He shoves in my face. This was taken 3 weeks ago. That's your husband with our boss. I stare at the image, unable to deny the truth any longer. It's definitely David, older, with a scar across his cheek I don't recognize, but unmistakably my husband. The man he's shaking hands with wears an expensive suit and has cold eyes that seem familiar somehow. I don't understand. I whisper. Your husband stole $5 million and a hard drive full of names. Marcus explains, wincing as he puts weight on his injured leg. Our boss wants both back. I thought. My voice breaks. The military told me he died saving his unit. Vince laughs cruelly. Is that what they said? Nah, he faked his death. Used it as cover to disappear with the money and the intel. The barn suddenly seems to spin around me. 3 years of grief, of raising our daughter alone, of visiting an empty grave, all built on lies. I don't know anything about money or a hard drive. I say truthfully. If David's alive, he never contacted me. Boss thinks different, Marcus says. Says David would have left it with you for safekeeping. In a farm maybe. That's when I realize why they took me from my farm rather than searching it themselves. They need me to find whatever David hid. But if David truly betrayed his country, betrayed us, would he have left evidence where I might find it? A memory surfaces, David's voice on our last call. Emma, if anything ever happens to me, remember the loose floorboard in Lily's room. Our first date. It's important. I checked after receiving news of his death and found nothing but an old photo of us. I'd assumed it was a sentimental keepsake. Could there have been something else? Suddenly, the barn shudders violently as a massive gust of wind hits it. Part of the roof tears away, rain pouring in. Vince is momentarily distracted, his grip on Lily loosening. Run! I scream at my daughter. She bites Vince's hand hard and breaks free, bolting toward me. I catch her in my arms, turning to shield her as Vince raises his gun. The sound of sirens cuts through the howling wind. Cops! Ed yells from where he's still tied up. We gotta go. Marcus grabs my arm. You're coming with us. You're gonna find that drive. I look him straight in the eyes. If you think I helped my husband hide stolen money, then you should know something else about me too. Yeah? What's that? He sneers. I never miss. In one fluid motion, I grab the fallen pipe with my free hand and swing it with all my might at his temple. As he crumples to the ground, I spin toward Vince, but I'm too late. The butt of his gun comes down hard against my head. Pain explodes behind my eyes as I fall, Lily screaming beside me. The last thing I see before darkness claims me is a pair of familiar boots stepping over Marcus's unconscious body. Boots I haven't seen in 3 years. A voice I thought I'd never hear again speaks. "Hello, Emma. Sorry I'm late." The world comes back to me in painful flashes. First, the throbbing in my head where Vince hit me. Then, the cold floor beneath my cheek. And finally, that voice, David's voice, that can't possibly be real. I force my eyes open, blinking against the harsh light of a naked bulb swinging overhead. I'm no longer in the barn. This room is small, concrete, with no windows. A basement, maybe. My wrists are zip-tied to a metal chair. The storm still rages outside. I can hear it beating against whatever building holds me. "Mommy!" Lily's frightened voice cuts through my confusion like a knife. I whip my head around, ignoring the stab of pain behind my eyes. My daughter sits on a cot in the corner, clutching her teddy bear. Her face is tear-streaked, but she seems unharmed. "I'm here, baby," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. "Are you hurt?" She shakes her head. The man with Daddy's face is scary. My heart stops. So I didn't imagine it. "What man, sweetie? Where is he?" Before she can answer, a door opens behind me. I strain to turn to see if it's really him, but the zip ties hold me firmly in place. "Hello, Emma." The sound of those 2 words, spoken in that voice I've dreamed about for 3 years, sends a shock through my system. Footsteps circle slowly until he stands before me. David, my husband, alive. He looks different, harder. A jagged scar runs from his left eye down to his jaw. His hair is shorter, graying at the temples. But those eyes, those are the same eyes I fell in love with 15 years ago. The same eyes I see every day in our daughter's face. "You're supposed to be dead," I whisper, unable to process the man standing before me. He smiles, but doesn't reach his eyes. Reports of my death were convenient. Convenient. Anger flares hot and bright inside me. I buried an empty coffin. I raised our daughter alone. I grieved you for 3 years. David flinches slightly at the mention of Lily, his gaze flickering to her before returning to me. "I did what I had to do," he says flatly. "To protect you both. Protect us." I laugh bitterly. "Is that why your friends kidnapped me? Beat me? Threatened our daughter?" His face darkens. "Marcus and his crew weren't supposed to involve you. They were just supposed to search the farm." "Search for what?" I demand, though I already know the answer. "A thumb drive. Small, black with a red stripe." His voice drops. "And $5 million in bearer bonds." The pieces start falling into place. "You're not dead. You're a thief." David kneels in front of me, his face inches from mine. "I'm trying to expose traitors who are selling American weapons to our enemies. The money was their payoff. The evidence is on that drive." For a moment, I see a flash of the man I married, passionate, driven by a sense of justice. But then I remember Marcus's words. "Your husband's been living a double life. Why fake your death? Why not go to your superiors?" David's laugh is hollow. "Because my superior is the one running the operation. General Wilson." The name hits me like a physical blow. General James Wilson, David's commanding officer, the man who delivered news of David's death, who spoke at his funeral about heroism and sacrifice. The man who has checked on Lily and me every few months since, bringing gifts, offering support. "Wilson," I whisper, "but he's been watching over us." "Watching you," David corrects. "Making sure you didn't find what I hid." My mind races back to all of Wilson's visits, his insistence on helping with repairs around the farm, his questions about David's belongings. The loose floorboard, I murmur, remembering David's last message to me. In Lily's room. David's eyes widen slightly. "You found it." "I found a photo. Nothing else." He shakes his head. The drive was taped to the back of the picture. The codes to access the bearer bonds were hidden in the image itself. I think back to that day, pulling up the floorboard, finding the photo of us on our first date. A picnic by the lake where he proposed. I clutched it to my chest, sobbing, before placing it in our family album. I never thought to look behind it. Wilson's men have been tearing apart our farm for years, looking for it, David continues. When they couldn't find it, they assumed I must have told you where it was. So you've been alive this whole time, letting me and Lily think you were dead, while you what? Played spy. I've been gathering more evidence, building a case that even Wilson can't escape. His voice hardens, and I've been keeping you both alive by staying away. The door opens again. Marcus limps in, his leg bandaged where I stabbed him. Behind him is Vince, looking even more menacing in the dim light. Touching reunion, Marcus sneers. But time's up. Wilson's getting impatient. David stands, facing them. I told you not to involve my family. Marcus shrugs. Plans change. Wilson thinks seeing her and the kid might refresh your memory about where you hid everything. I look between the men, realizing with growing horror that David isn't working with them. He's the prisoner too. Where's Ed? Vince asks suddenly, looking around as if expecting to see the third kidnapper. Still tied up in the barn, I guess. Marcus laughs. If the cops didn't get him. David turns back to me, and for a brief moment, I see fear in his eyes. Not for himself, but for us. He mouths something I can't quite catch. Marcus grabs David's shoulder. Enough talking. Wilson's on his way. You've got 1 hour to give us the location, or we start with your daughter's fingers. As they drag David from the room, the last thing I see is the glint of something metal he's dropped by my feet. A small pocket knife. Even after everything, he's still trusting the lieutenant general who served 3 tours in Afghanistan. The woman they called the Ghost of Kandahar. The woman who once led a 6-person team through enemy territory to rescue 20 hostages without firing a single shot. As the door slams shut, I meet Lily's frightened eyes across the room. It's okay, baby, I whisper, working my chair closer to the knife. Mommy's going to get us out of here. And then I'm going to find that thumb drive, get my daughter to safety, and discover which version of my husband is real, the hero I married, or the traitor who abandoned us. The tiny knife blade saws through my zip ties, slicing my wrists in the process. I barely feel the pain. My focus narrows to one thing, getting Lily safely out of here. I can hear voices arguing in the next room. David's among them. Stay very quiet. I whisper to Lily as I free myself. Remember our special game? She nods solemnly. We've practiced this before, though I'd told her it was just pretend. Silent steps like a fox, she whispers back. That's right, baby. Silent fox. I crossed her, checking the door first to make sure no one's coming. We're going to play it for real now. As I reach her, I notice something clutched in her small hand beside her teddy bear. A small black object with a red stripe. Lily. I breathe. Where did you get that? From the picture frame, she says simply. Daddy's ghost told me to get it when he visited my room last month. My blood runs cold. Daddy came to our house. She nods. He said it was a secret mission. That bad man might come looking for this. She holds up the thumb drive. He said to keep it safe until the right time. David has been to our farm, has seen our daughter without letting me know he was alive. The betrayal cuts deeper than any knife. But there's no time for that now. You did perfect, I tell her, taking the drive and slipping it into my sock. Now we need to. The door crashes open. Vince fills the doorway, gun aimed at my head. Back away from the kid, he growls. I step in front of Lily instinctively. She needs water, I say. She's been crying for hours. Not my problem. His eyes narrow when he sees the cut zip ties on the floor. Clever, but not clever enough. He gestures with the gun. Move. Where are we going? His ugly smile returns. Family reunion. Boss just arrived. He marches us down a narrow hallway. I count steps, note turns, looking for exits. We're definitely in a basement. The small windows near the ceiling show ground level outside. The storm has weakened to a steady rain. Vince pushes us into a larger room. David is there, standing rigidly next to Marcus, and seated comfortably in an armchair, looking as polished and commanding as he did at my husband's funeral, is General James Wilson. Emma, he greets me warmly, as if we're meeting for coffee. And little Lily, I'm sorry about all this unpleasantness. Uncle James, Lily exclaims, and my heart sinks. Wilson has visited our farm so often that my daughter considers him family. Wilson's smile is gentle as he beckons to Lily. Come here, sweetheart. Everything's going to be okay. Don't. I warn her, but Lily has already run to him. Wilson pulls her onto his lap, stroking her hair with what appears to be genuine affection. We've had a misunderstanding, Wilson says calmly. Your husband has made some unfortunate accusations, stolen some valuable items. All I want is their return, and then everyone can go home. I look at David, searching his face for the truth. His eyes are fixed on Lily, a muscle working in his jaw. You're selling weapons to militants, David says flatly. American weapons. I have the evidence. Wilson sighs as if disappointed. What David found was a sanctioned operation. Controlled weapons distribution to regional allies. Completely authorized. By whom? I challenge. Congress? The president? Or just you and your bank account? Wilson's smile doesn't waver, but his eyes harden. I've always admired your directness, Emma. It's why David married you, I suspect. He bounces Lily gently on his knee. Tell me, have you ever wondered why your farm has stayed afloat despite the drought? Why your mortgage payments mysteriously decreased? I freeze. 3 years ago, after David's death, I'd received notice that our mortgage had been partially forgiven due to a military family relief program. I've been grateful, never questioning it. You've been paying our mortgage, I realize aloud. Why? Insurance, David spits. He was keeping you close, watching you, making sure you never found what I hid. I was taking care of my best friend's widow and child. Wilson counters smoothly. David and I served together for 15 years. When he had his breakdown and started making wild accusations, I tried to help him. Breakdown. I looked between them, uncertain who to believe. PTSD, Wilson explains gently. It happens to the best soldiers. David became paranoid, convinced that standard operations were something sinister. When he stole classified files and military funds, I had to report it. But I protected you and Lily from the fallout. He's lying, David says through gritted teeth. Emma, you know me. Doi, the man I married, wouldn't have let me think he was dead for 3 years. Wouldn't have let Lily grow up without a father. Wouldn't have visited our daughter in secret without seeing me too. The drive, Emma, Wilson says, still bouncing Lily on his knee. That's all I need. Then you and Lily can go home. I'll even help you get David the treatment he needs. I notice how Wilson's hand rests casually near Lily's throat. How Marcus and Vince have positioned themselves by the exits. How David's eyes keep flicking to something on Wilson's belt. A satellite phone. Uncle James has a gun too, Lily says suddenly, pointing to the weapon holstered under Wilson's jacket. Is he going to shoot the bad man? Wilson laughs, but I see it now, the calculation behind his friendly exterior. The way he's using my daughter as a shield. No one's shooting anyone, Wilson assures her. We're all friends here. Friends don't kidnap friends, Lily says with the simple logic of a 6-year-old. Wilson's smile tightens. The drive, Emma. I won't ask again. David catches my eye and gives an almost imperceptible nod toward the ceiling. I glance up, noticing for the first time the red blinking light of a security camera. Someone is watching us. If I give you the drive, I say carefully, how do I know you'll let us go? You have my word as an officer, Wilson says solemnly. Your word means nothing, David snaps. Tell her the truth. Tell her what happened to my unit in Kandahar. Wilson's expression darkens. Be careful, David. My team didn't die in an ambush, David says, his voice rising. Wilson ordered their execution when they discovered his smuggling operation. He was going to kill me too, but I escaped. That's when I took the evidence. That's enough. Wilson stands abruptly, pushing Lily aside. His hand moves to his gun. In that split second, I make my decision. I reach down to my sock, pulling out the thumb drive. Is this what you want? I hold it up. Proof that an American general is arming our enemies for profit? Wilson's eyes fix on the small device. Give it to me, he says, his mask of friendliness gone. Now, Lily, I say calmly, red balloon. My daughter immediately drops to the ground and covers her ears, just as we practiced. In the same motion, I hurl the thumb drive at the window. The glass shatters, letting in the sound of helicopters and shouted commands from outside. FBI, everybody down. The basement erupts into chaos. Wilson lunges for his gun, but David tackles him to the ground. Marcus fires wildly toward the broken window, while Vince makes a break for the door. I dive for Lily, covering her body with mine, as gunfire explodes around us. The door bursts open, and agents in tactical gear pour into the room. Lieutenant General Taylor, a female agent, kneels beside me. Agent Romano, FBI. We received your husband's message. The perimeter is secure. I look up in confusion. My husband's message? That's when I spot David across the room, the satellite phone from Wilson's belt in his hand. He gives me a small smile before being handcuffed alongside everyone else. Standard procedure, Agent Romano explains, helping me to my feet. We'll sort everything out at headquarters. As they lead us upstairs, I see the full scale of the operation. Dozens of agents, multiple vehicles, even a medical helicopter standing by. The rain has stopped, dawn breaking over unfamiliar countryside. Where are we? I ask, clutching Lily's hand. About 50 miles from your farm, Romano answers. We've had this compound under surveillance for weeks after getting an anonymous tip about weapons smuggling. I look back to see Wilson being let out in handcuffs, his face a mask of fury. Our eyes meet, and I see the moment he realizes he's lost. The thumb drive, I remember suddenly. It went through the window. Romano's Mize, already recovered. Though I'm curious, how did you know to throw a decoy? Esteva here. A decoy. The real drive, she explains, the one your husband uploaded data from before coming to find you. We received it yesterday, along with coordinates to this location. As I try to process this, David is led past us toward a separate vehicle. He pauses briefly beside me. I'm sorry, he says softly, for everything. I thought I was protecting you both by staying away. Were you ever going to tell me you were alive? I ask, my voice breaking despite my efforts to stay strong. He looks at Lily, then back to me. I was coming home next week, once Wilson was arrested. I swear. Before I can respond, the agents usher him away. What happens now? I ask Romano as they place David in a dark SUV. Debriefing. Protective custody for you and your daughter until the threat is neutralized. She hesitates, and you have some big decisions to make. As a blanket is wrapped around my shoulders and Lily is examined by paramedics, I watch the sun continue its rise over the horizon. My husband is alive, but a stranger. My peaceful farm life was built on lies, and the man I trusted as family tried to kill us all. The agent is right. I have decisions to make. But first, I need the complete truth about David, about Wilson, and about the woman I became while thinking I was just a farmer's widow. The FBI safe house is nothing like our farm. The walls are a boring beige, the furniture stiff and uncomfortable. I've spent 3 days here answering questions, telling my story over and over until my throat is raw. They've given Lily coloring books and stuffed animals, but she keeps asking when we can go home. I wish I had an answer for her. Agent Romano brings me coffee in a paper cup, steam rising into the cold air of the interrogation room. Just a few more questions today, she says, her voice gentler than the other agents. Where's David? I ask for the 100th time. They've kept us apart since the raid, and no one will tell me anything about him. He's secure, is all she says. Always the same answer. I wrap my hands around the warm cup, trying to stop them from shaking. I haven't slept more than an hour at a time since we arrived. Every time I close my eyes, I see Wilson's face as he held my daughter on his lap, his hand too close to her throat. We need to talk about the contents of the drive, Romano says, opening a folder. Inside are photographs, weapons caches, men in military uniforms loading crates onto unmarked trucks, handwritten ledgers showing millions of dollars. These are from Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, she explains. All American weapons that were supposed to be destroyed or stored in secure facilities. And Wilson was selling them. Romano nods. To the highest bidder, often to groups that turned right around and used them against our own troops. My stomach turns. I think of David's fellow soldiers, my fellow soldiers, dying because of Wilson's greed. There's something else, Romano says hesitantly. She pulls out another photo. This one shows David shaking hands with Wilson, both smiling broadly. This was taken 6 months ago. Ice fills my veins. That's not possible. David was gathering evidence against Wilson. We think so too, but we need to understand their relationship. She leans forward. Emma, we believe David was working as a double agent, pretending to be part of Wilson's operation while gathering evidence. For whom? I demand. If he wasn't working with the FBI, who was he reporting to? Romano's silence tells me everything. David was working alone, a vigilante. There's more, she says, sliding another photo across the table. This one shows her farmhouse, but not as I remember it. The kitchen wall is open, exposing the wooden frame. This was taken from Wilson's files. He had been searching your house while you were at work. I feel violated. All those times I came home to find things slightly out of place, blaming my own exhaustion or forgetfulness. All those times Wilson visited, bringing groceries or toys for Lily, insisting on fixing things around the house himself. What about my neighbor? I asked suddenly. Mrs. Hendricks? The one who was watching Lily. Romano's face darkens. She's been hospitalized. Wilson's men roughed her up pretty badly when they took Lily. Fresh guilt washes over me. Mrs. Hendricks is 83 years old. She bakes cookies for Lily and tells stories about the farm when it belonged to my grandparents. I need to see David, I say firmly. Now, that's not possible. It wasn't a request. I stand up, pushing the photos away. Either you take me to my husband, or Lily and I walk out of here right now. Romano studies me for a long moment, then nods. 1 hour. But there are conditions. 20 minutes later, I'm led down a sterile hallway to a room with a large mirror on one wall. David sits at a table, hands cuffed in front of him. He looks thinner than I remember, tired. When the door opens and he sees me, he stands so quickly his chair tips over. Emma, he breathes. I stop just inside the doorway, my heart thumping painfully. 3 years of grief. 3 years of raising our daughter alone. 3 years of visiting an empty grave. You let me think you were dead, I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. I had no choice, he replies, his eyes pleading. Wilson had already killed my entire unit. If he knew I was alive, he would have killed you and Lily too. You could have trusted me with the truth. I couldn't risk it. He takes a step toward me, but stops when I flinch away. Emma, you have to understand. Wilson had eyes everywhere. He visited you regularly, didn't he? Checked on you and Lily. I nod, remembering all those Sunday dinners, all those times Wilson had sat at our table, asked about our lives, played with my daughter. But you came to the farm, I say. Lily told me you visited her. Shame crosses his face. I needed to secure the drive. I knew Wilson would find it eventually. So you used our daughter as your secret keeper? She's 6 years old, David. I know. He hangs his head. I was desperate. The evidence I had wasn't enough to bring down Wilson's entire network. I needed what was on that drive. And now, I ask, is it enough now? He looks up, a spark of the old David in his eyes. Yes. Wilson, his buyers, the corrupt officials who look the other way, they're all going down. I think of the photo Romano showed me. David and Wilson shaking hands 6 months ago. You were working with him. Pretending to, he corrects quickly. I made him believe I wanted back in, that I'd gotten scared and buried the evidence as insurance. And he believed you? David's smile is grim. Wilson's greatest weakness is his ego. He couldn't imagine anyone outsmarting him. He leans forward. Emma, I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But everything I did was to protect you and Lily. By abandoning us, I say bitterly. By staying away, he counters. There's a difference. Before I can respond, the door opens and Romano steps in. Time's up. Wait, David says urgently. Emma, you need to know, the farm isn't safe. Wilson's partners are still out there. They know about you now. What are you saying? Witness protection, Romano explains. For you and Lily. New names, new location. I stare at them both, the reality crashing down on me. Not only has my husband risen from the dead, but now my entire life, my farm, my identity, has to die too. For how long? I ask. Until the trial is over, Romano says. Maybe longer. David reaches for my hand. After a moment's hesitation, I let him take it. His palm is calloused but warm, so achingly familiar. I'm coming with you. he says firmly. We'll be a family again. A real one this time. Romano's expression tells me it's not that simple. That's not my decision, she says carefully. As they lead David away, he turns back to me. The hollow behind the waterfall, he calls, where we first met. There's something there you need to find. The door closes behind him, leaving me alone with my questions and a choice that seems impossible. Rebuild a life with the man who betrayed me, or walk away from the only man I've ever loved. Absolutely not. I fold my arms across my chest, staring down Agent Romano. I'm not leaving without checking the waterfall first. Mrs. Taylor, Lieutenant General Taylor, I correct her. After 3 years of being just Emma the farmer, I'm reclaiming every piece of my identity I can hold on to. Romano sighs. General Taylor, it's too dangerous. Wilson's associates. I spent 6 years running spec ops missions in war zones. I cut in. I think I can handle a quick trip to a local waterfall. We've been arguing in circles for 20 minutes. The FBI wants to move Lily and me to a secure location immediately. I understand the risk, but David's last words to me have been echoing in my head for hours. The hollow behind the waterfall, where we first met. It's a small waterfall on my family's property, about a mile from the farmhouse. The place where I literally stumbled into David 15 years ago when he was a young soldier on leave, camping in the woods. The place where he proposed 2 years later. 1 hour, I insist. Send a team with me if you want, but I need to see what's there. Romano studies me for a long moment, then nods curtly. 1 hour. Full tactical team. You follow every order without question. 2 hours later, I'm crouching behind a fallen log, watching the farmhouse through binoculars. 4 FBI agents in tactical gear surround me. Lily is safely back at the safe house with another agent who promised to read her favorite book as many times as she wants. All clear, says the team leader, a stern-faced woman named Martinez. But we move fast, in and out. The farm looks eerily normal as we approach. The chicken coop, the old red tractor, the swing I hung for Lily from the oak tree, all exactly as I left them. It's hard to believe it's been less than a week since I was feeding the chickens at dawn when Marcus and his crew arrived. We bypassed the house, heading straight for the woods behind the property. The path to the waterfall is overgrown. I haven't been there since David died. Each step stirs memories. Hiking this trail with David, his hand in mine, later carrying baby Lily in a backpack, pointing out birds and butterflies. The sound of rushing water grows louder. The waterfall isn't large, maybe 15 feet high, but the pool beneath it is deep and clear. The afternoon sun filters through the trees, creating dappled light on the surface. The hollow is behind the waterfall, I explain to Martinez. There's a small cave. She nods to one of her team. Jenkins, go with her. The rest of us will secure the perimeter. Jenkins follows me around the edge of the pool. The rocks are slippery with moss, and I have to concentrate on each step. We reach the side of the waterfall, where a narrow ledge leads behind the curtain of water. Stay close, I tell Jenkins. The footing is tricky. The roar of the water is deafening as we slip behind it. The cave is shallow, just deep enough to stand without getting soaked by the spray. Sunlight filters through the water, casting wavering patterns on the stone walls. What are we looking for? Jenkins has to shout to be heard. I don't know, I admit. My eyes scan the walls, the floor, searching for anything unusual. This was our special place, David's and mine. If he left something here, it would be in... My gaze lands on a small niche in the wall, about chest height. The perfect size for... I reach in, my fingers finding cold metal. A small tin box, rusted at the edges. My heart pounding, I pull it out. It's an old first aid kit, the kind David always carried in his pack. With trembling fingers, I open it. Inside is a thick envelope, sealed with wax, and a small USB drive different from the one Lily had. I break the seal on the envelope. Inside are several pages of handwritten notes and a smaller envelope with my name on it. Ma'am, Jenkins says urgently, pointing to his radio. Martinez says we need to move. Now, I stuff everything back into the tin box and follow him out from behind the waterfall. Martinez meets us at the edge of the pool, her expression grim. "We've got company," she says, pointing toward the farm. Two vehicles just pulled up. Through the trees, I can see black SUVs in front of my house. Men in suits step out, looking around. "Wilson's partners?" I ask. Martinez shakes her head. "Worse. CIA. My blood runs cold. What do they want?" "The same thing everyone wants," she replies grimly. "The evidence. And they're not here to make arrests." She gestures for her team to spread out, then turns to me. "Change of plans. We're taking the back route out." We move quickly through the woods, away from the farm and the approaching agents. My mind races. If the CIA is involved, this goes even higher than Wilson. How deep does this corruption run? The sun is setting by the time we reach the extraction point, a clearing where a helicopter waits. The steady chop of its blades drowns out the sounds of pursuit, if there are any. "Get in," Martinez orders, helping me up. "We're going to a different safe house, one the CIA doesn't know about." As the helicopter lifts off, I catch a final glimpse of my farm, my home, growing smaller below us. Will I ever see it again? Will Lily? The new safe house is smaller, more isolated. Lily runs to me the moment I walk in, throwing her arms around my waist. "Mommy, did you see Daddy again?" I stroke her hair, forcing a smile. "Not today, sweetie, but I brought something special." I show her the tin box. "This is from Daddy." Her eyes widen. "Like a treasure?" "Maybe," I say. "Why don't you go help Agent Diaz make dinner while I look at it?" Once she's gone, I open the box again, hands trembling slightly. I unfold David's letter first. "Emma, if you're reading this, then everything has either gone very right or very wrong. I pray it's the former. I never wanted to leave you and Lily. Leaving was the hardest thing I've ever done. But when I discovered what Wilson was doing, I knew our lives were in danger. He'd already killed my entire unit to keep his operation secret. You and Lily would have been next. The evidence on this drive goes beyond weapons smuggling. Wilson and his partners have been funneling weapons to both sides of conflicts around the world, prolonging wars for profit. But they're just the middlemen. The real power is higher up, cabinet level. I've spent 3 years building a case that no one can ignore or bury. Names, dates, bank transactions. Everything needed to bring down the entire network. I've left copies with trusted contacts, set to release if anything happens to me. But this drive contains something the others don't: the location of the money. $5 million in bearer bonds, hidden where no one would think to look. Use it to build a new life for you and Lily. Somewhere safe, somewhere far from all of this. I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness. I've missed 3 years of our daughter's life. I've caused you pain no wife should ever bear. But everything I did for you both. Whether you can ever forgive me or not, please believe that I never stopped loving you. Not for a single moment. Forever yours, David. Tears blur my vision. I fold the letter carefully and place it back in the box, then remove the USB drive. Whatever is on it could bring down people in the highest levels of government. People who would kill to protect themselves. A soft knock at the door makes me jump. Agent Romano enters, her expression solemn. "The CIA team at your farm found nothing," she says. "But they're not giving up. We need to move you again tomorrow." She notices the tin box, the drive in my hand. "Is that from David?" I confirm. Evidence that goes beyond Wilson. Romano's shoulders sag slightly. "I was afraid of that." She sits across from me. "Emma, you need to understand what this means. This isn't just witness protection. This is disappearing completely. New names, new histories, new everything. And David," I ask, already knowing the answer. "He's being moved to a secure military facility tonight. His testimony is crucial to the case against Wilson." "When can we see him?" Romano's hesitation tells me everything. "It's complicated. Until the trial." "Stop," I interrupt. "Just tell me the truth. Will Lily and I ever see him again?" "That's not my decision," she says carefully. "But the safest option for everyone is separate locations." I think of the photo album on my bedside table. The clothes still hanging in David's closet that still smelled like him until last year. The way Lily asks about her daddy every night before bed. 3 years we've lived with grief. Now we're supposed to live with uncertainty instead? No, I say firmly. I won't do that to Lily again. Either we all go together, or we don't go at all. You can't make that choice, Romano protests. Your lives are at stake. I stand up, squaring my shoulders. I've spent 15 years serving this country. I've led troops into combat, made life-or-death decisions under fire. I am perfectly capable of deciding what's best for my family. The door opens again, and Martinez steps in. We've got a problem, she says. David Taylor has escaped custody. Romano jumps to her feet. What? How? 3 guards down, non-lethal. He took a vehicle and disappeared. Martinez's eyes fix on me. He left a message. Said to tell Emma. Red balloon. 1 hour. My heart races as I look at my watch. Our emergency code, our meeting place. I know exactly where he's going. I need to get my daughter, I say, already moving toward the door. Romano blocks my path. You can't seriously be considering. My husband is risking everything to be with us. I cut her off. After 3 years apart, I'm not losing him again. Any evidence? Romano asks, nodding toward the USB drive, still clutched in my hand. I look down at it, then back at her. Justice is important, but my family comes first. As I turn to get Lily, I feel something I haven't felt in 3 years. Hope. Whatever comes next, whatever we face, we'll face it together. The soldier, the spy, and the little girl who brought us back to each other. Behind me, I hear Romano sigh. Get a team ready, she tells Martinez. We're going after them. Then, more softly, and pray we find them before the CIA does.